Mark Borja is someone who is not that different from you and I. He finds each day to be monotonous and repetitive. He tends to procrastinate his assignments to the last second. He's someone who is full of talent but does nothing with it. But add some of his friends into the mix and he starts to shine. Probably like you. The first thing you see Mark doing is sleeping. His alarm goes off. He's still sleeping. His alarm goes off for the 100th time and he wakes up. This guy can't possibly be relatable, right? Oh wait, he is. If you're past the age of an adolescent, then this has probably been you at some point. We just wanted the world to stop and go our way, just for a little bit, but it won't. And that's the beauty of it. As soon as you leave Mark's room, you're thrown into a messy and diverse world. The people you walk past are too diverse to be Japanese, but the language that they speak isn't English, so it can't be in the US or the UK. This language is so unique though, that I'm sure most of the audience haven't heard of it. The language that is being spoken is Tagalog, home to the Philippines. The more you walk and explore this world though, the more you realize something is amiss. The world seems tense, nervous, tired. When playing, I was astonished at the atmosphere and how well it replicated the feeling of a post-pandemic world. When you walk past other characters, they keep to themselves. No one wants to talk to you. There's no dialogue for you to interact with, unlike your average RPG. Why should they though? Although they didn't go through a pandemic, they went through a tragedy of their own. The ruling. Such a cataclysmic event has already been dismissed by the world. In fact, you only find out about it through Mark's phone while he's scrolling through Until Then's form of social media. The ruling though? The ruling itself was a series of catastrophic events all over the world crippling society. Although the chaos isn't evident in the story, like you're not witnessing the end of the world, it holds a grip over most characters. The effects of the ruling linger and fracture their personal lives. Until Then's execution on his characters is phenomenal. Each one oozes a personality, and the chemistry between them feels so unique, but real. The biggest chemistry would be between the MCR trio, Mark, Kathy, and Riddle. Lifelong friends that have endured hardships together, but as they enter their first year of high school, with a part of the trio being separated, each has new problems that they face on their own. Specifically, Riddle not being in the same class as Mark and Kathy anymore. As a result, this allows him to focus on himself more, causing Mark and Kathy to grow together as friends. However, with Riddle being the more empathetic and observant friend, there are some things Mark tends to be clueless on that have larger impacts later on in the story. The whole dynamic is something that happens much too often in life. There have been countless times where I, and I'm pretty sure you, have been separated from our friends without notice, but we have to accept it and move on. Now, with the main trio separated, Mark finds himself with more time on his hands and two things happen. He spirals, he makes more friends. The first, Mark's parents work abroad. Therefore, since Mark has no guardian figure to rely on, his mental state is not the best. Rather than doom scrolling his sorrows away, because this is 2015, he attempts to play the piano, mainly to try and have a close connection to his mom who loved it. As a result, he makes more friends, with the help of a fateful collision in the school's hallway. The collision is due to Mark's procrastinated self left him to forget about an art project on this day, and as a result, he tries to finish it in 7 minutes. So, rushing to finish his project with the lunchtime he has left, he crashes into Nicole Lascamana. The two get sent to the principal's office. Keep in mind, it's Nicole's first day. Nicole hates Mark because of this, and Mark genuinely feels terrible. After a lecture from the principal, the two agree to redo the art project at Nicole's house. More than an art project takes place here though. Mark finds a piano! However, Nicole is now upset at Mark again for playing the piano, specifically a certain song he was playing. More about the song later. But Nicole's parents are far from upset and actually invite Mark over for dinner. There's friendly banter between the two, and the night ends. Everything is going well. It's going too well. Mark has been having deja vu, and it started when someone mentioned Nicole's name, before he even met her. Mark has no idea who to turn to. So he does the obvious thing and asks the smartest person in his school. Luis Orduña is a preppy, stone-cold leader, but she's also vulnerable. Because of this, the other students at Liamson, Mark's high school, tend to avoid her. However, Mark is unfazed by Luis's personality, and as a result, he comes to know the genuine Luis. Mark doesn't judge Luis at first glance like his peers. He tries to understand who they really are. Given his circumstances at home, it makes sense why he acts like this, but it's something that more people, including myself, should be like. Mark explains the deja vu he's felt to Luis, and to his and my surprise, Luis was very cooperative and agrees to help Mark with the situation. Growing up means growing apart from old friends, which is something I stated earlier in the video. This is evident with the MCR trio, even as simple in the things they wear. When the three meet at a local fair, Riddle has great news about he landed a spot to direct a film he made, reflecting that is Riddle's clothes, airing professionally. Riddle and Kathy also prodded Mark for hanging out with the ladies so much, reflecting that Mark dressed much better than he was at the start of the story. But Kathy has no achievements of her own, and reflecting that is her pajamas and bandages. As Mark spends more time with Nicole, he slowly loses touch with his previous friends. He'll hang out with Kathy, who is his closest thing to a best friend here and there, but he's not really there. Christmas rolls around and Mark spends it at Nicole's. Mark learns more about Nicole's past and how she lost her childhood best friend Jake Corpus. The piano piece that Nicole got mad at Mark for playing earlier was actually a piece that Nicole made inspired by Jake. Therefore, when Nicole heard Mark play the piece, she was shocked. The two decide to take a trip to Nicole's childhood home. Mark finds the place is very safe as the entire neighborhood is abandoned. Nicole, on the other hand, is in denial that Jake is gone, which was her whole reason for visiting the place. With Mark wanting to leave and Nicole not wanting to go, the two drift apart from each other and their relationship grows awkward. The whole experience causes Mark to reflect on himself and accept the fact that his mom is dead, whom he opens up to Kathy about. Kathy in turn wants to open up to Mark as well, but decides to wait. Yeah, his mom was actually dead and not working abroad. This was actually pretty self-evident throughout the game, as the only person who returned his messages, emails, and calls was his father. The climax of the story is centered around the high school's 2015 prom. All the friends Mark has made on his journey are in one place and his deja vu has finally settled down. Mark can't help but feel worried. He feels that something is off. He arrives at the dance and sees all his friends. He eases up for once, and Mark is at peace. He made it to the end of the school year, and his mental state is better. The only thing left for Mark to do is to make amends with Nicole. While waiting for Nicole to arrive, Mark takes a photo with Kathy, who tells Mark she wants to be his final dance of the night, so she can tell him what she's been hiding. Mark agrees, and the two part as Nicole walks in. Mark makes amends with Nicole, the two dance, and then Mark sets off to find Kathy. Kathy is missing. Mark starts panicking, and a search party is formed. At this moment, Mark's deja vu starts acting up. Mark starts running. He searches frantically, and exhausts himself. He stops, and when he looks up, she's there. He's relieved, and when he turns to run to her, she does the same. But the two are so relieved to see each other that they actually don't see the truck. And Kathy gets hit. Yeah. See, the thing is, until then's main premise was never about Mark's deja vu or Mark growing up. I mean, there's lessons to be told from it, and I'm sure the authors wrote the story with these lessons in mind. But its end goal, in the final act at least, was to open your eyes. Mark was a great person. He had his ups and downs, but ultimately, his lack to be observant and empathetic led to hiccups throughout the story and Kathy's death. Now, I personally interpret it different from its face value. Having the truck killer was just very unnatural. I think that no matter what, the first act was to end with Kathy dying, and because of that, I think that it would be more plausible to assume that Kathy would have taken her own life. I think that the writers didn't want the audience to experience that though, because the truth is, Kathy was just having trouble at home. She was having self-doubts about her future, and she was harming herself. The harsh truth is that this happens in life and has happened to people. Who's your closest friend? Picture them right now. How long have you known them for? How'd you meet them? How are they doing currently? Just now I asked you 4 questions and you can probably answer all 4 of them, but you can't actually answer that 4th question. The only person who can is the person you just thought of. Go reach out to that person. It doesn't have to be much, but in this world, a little can go a long way. That's not where our story ends though. If you made it to the end, let me know if you'd like me to cover the 2nd and 3rd acts. Until then.